Thank you very much for joining today. So I'm Benjamin Rietti from eTabs, and we're going to be talking about new innovations and how you can leverage report automation capabilities to the max, and in any more ways than you can potentially thought of previously. Please use the chat box or the Q&A box to ask any questions you may have, and I'll answer those at the end of the session. Let's have a look and see what are we going to be talking about today. So I'll start off by telling you a little bit more about eTabs and what we specialize in, what we've been through. Then we'll dive straight into automated reporting to learn what it is and what it's not. Then we're going to look at how it's possible to now leverage automation, not just in the traditional sense of creating PowerPoint decks of charts, but also to tailor those decks and populate them directly from online data sources through our API. These could be coming from data dashboards like Tableau, PowerBI, or even your own online dashboard systems. And then we'll end off by looking at what's now also possible in the Google world, being able to automate Google Slides, Google Sheets, as well as just the regular PowerPoint and Office project. A little bit about eTabs as a company. So we've been a leader within the market research industry now for a good long time, set up back in 1993. And essentially our whole specialty is the back-end reporting process for market research. So we don't get involved in data collection or analysis. It's all about data visualization, online dashboards, and what we're talking about today, which is automated reporting solutions. We've won a number of awards on the way, including going to Buckingham Palace some years back, met the Queen, and that was lovely. We're a global company, headquartered in the UK. My accent might give that away, but we also have teams in the US, mainland Europe, as well as New Zealand. And this way we can follow the sun and provide support around the clock. Let's hear a little bit more about automated reporting, what it is and what it isn't. So automated charting isn't new. Nowadays, getting charts generated automatically is fairly common and often taken for granted. But most options out there aren't actually that flexible. Sometimes you'll have a bright spark on the team who will create an Excel macro to run off a bunch of charts. But macros, while good at what they do, aren't perfect. Once they're made, they're like concrete. Either use it as it is or smash it to pieces and start again. If the expected data structure changes, or even if the client wants something adjusted in the formatting, maybe their branding changed or the color has changed, and said, oh, can you just change all the charts to be blue instead of yellow? Well, that macro will simply need to be recreated from scratch. Maybe the charts are given to you as images that can't be edited, and that's not very helpful. And you're probably somewhat limited with chart types, the number of objects they allow you to put on the slide, or restricted when handling changing conditions down the line. Maybe you have an online analysis tool that offers rendering of analyses into simple PowerPoint charts. Very sweet, but then you're still left with a lot of fiddling to get the final report done because you're stuck within their constraints of what they'll export for you. So the optimum solution for automated market research and insights reporting should ideally be a system able to handle variance in trackers or multi-market studies without much fuss. Handling different brand lists or numbers of brands across waves or markets, show or calculate significance and stat testing, deal with low base suppression, low base conditions, or even write condition-based analysis text. Automatically handle brand logos or placement of indicators on the slides. If the solution can natively understand the actual language of market research, data, and our industry's unique reporting needs, then so much more detail can be automated. This is ideal for trackers, continuous studies, multi-market projects, repetitive customer sat or employee satisfaction studies, concept or ad testing, and even for some ad hoc projects. So what we're talking about automating is automating client-ready reports with every level of detail fully automated, so you can concentrate on the analysis and add more value to the project. That's why we like to call this automated reporting rather than just automated charting. So let's have a look and see the automation in action. I'm opening up my data file. You'll see typical banner tables here in Excel. There's no limit to the number of these files that we can use to extract data from. And let's look at the all-important template. So a few slides here. As you can see, we're in PowerPoint. The chart objects are there, but they're empty. We're showing tables. We're showing what will eventually become populated charts, and so on. Let's click Run, and away we go. So our enterprise software works in 3 phases. Phase 1 now is just populating all those different objects that were in the template with the data values. Then it does calculations like ranking might be needed, re-ranking, sorting, sig testing, calculating nets, calculating differences between the previous wave and the current wave, and then it goes on to conditional formatting. So let's have a look and see it. Yeah. So here we go. You can see that first slide, the wave piece of text, simple, has been populated. I'm going to click on this chart, and you can see how we've also populated the text at the top, decreased by 10%. That is conditionally inserted and calculated. So I'm clicking on the chart now, where you can see stat indicators have gone in there as well. But behind the scenes in the data sheet, it's like a regular PowerPoint chart, which it is, and the data is all there. So we populate the deck, and it becomes fully editable after the event. Here we have a heat map approach with a table showing the values in different colors, flags for the countries, the brand names, and the logos will appear. Here we can look at stat testing within the table. We put asterisks in to show low base, and we can populate all those base values in the footer, as you can see here, all the n equals. The next slide then. This slide is automatically replicated 3 times with NPS scores for our core brand and its 3 competitors in different markets. As you can see here, France, Australian, and global. So that's the idea of the automation. That's on a static PowerPoint deck. Now we understand the concept of fully automated reporting on static projects. How about leveraging that for online dashboards? So as you're probably aware, most dashboard platforms fail to provide useful exports, where the charts are exported are just images. And even if they offer an Excel output with the data in, obviously, you're then still having to do all the charting yourself by hand. So based on our mainstream automation solution that I just showed you, the new Enterprise Cloud is, not surprisingly, a cloud-based platform that can accept data from anywhere, including popular dashboard systems like Tableau and Power BI. So we have this API that can connect to all these various dashboard platforms and other solutions, even your own perhaps systems you may have, extract the data as needed and populate PowerPoint, or as we'll see shortly, even Google Slides. So then uses that data to populate your template, and then that's ready for your client to then use based on the data they chose from the platform. I'll explain the principle behind our solution. We've developed an export button that can be integrated within an existing dashboard. I'm going to click on the download or export button now. When clicked on, this exporter sends a data packet containing the currently visible data over to our cloud server. Within seconds, the Enterprise Cloud Server then populates a PowerPoint or Google Slides equivalent of the dashboard with that packet of data, populating each object accordingly. And then it will email that populated file back to the person who asked for it. And here it is in my inbox, an editable PowerPoint version of that dashboard we just looked at. Click on the objects, fully editable charts, matching up with the original dashboard. The beauty of our cloud report automation platform is that it can work immediately. So we can take any of your existing dashboards, could be something you've been running for many months or years even, on another platform. It will still stay on that platform, Power BI, let's say, Tableau or something else. And then you can then add our export functionality API on top of it. Or if you want, our team can help you do that, or even create an entire dashboard for you with this exportable functionality. For any given project, it usually just takes a couple of days to prepare the exporting and go live. You can even choose to control how the exports are delivered, with a link to the download, an attachment in an email, or placed into a SharePoint or Google Drive. So enhanced productivity for your clients and stakeholders can be a reality, quite literally going live within a day or two. So what can we automate? So the traditional Office suite of PowerPoint, Excel, and Word are a well-trodden path. But now we're seeing Google Slides and Google Sheets mandated as deliverables for certain projects and certain clients. So as anyone who had the pleasure, he says in quote marks, will testify, it's actually quite challenging preparing chart-heavy presentations. Very, very time-consuming and frustrating. But that's all changing now. So in a first for the industry, we're proud to announce automating Google Slides and Sheets is now possible from our platform in exactly the same way as we've been doing PowerPoint for many, many years. A couple of examples. So here's a template in Slides. As you can see, and we see the transformation from the empty templated slide to populated charts, conditional colors, automated generation of insight, conditional text, ranking, aligning indicators, all of that and more. On the next slide, here we show conditional formatting, advanced sorting, pulling in brand logos and flags. These can be pulled from slides or from an image files, JPEGs, PNGs, and so on, that could be on your Google Drive. So as we're seeing, this whole concept of automated reporting has so many benefits. Automation gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better, and you can do more of it. Enhancing your range of deliverables gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or grow profits, increase the profit margins. Innovating these reporting strengthens client relationships. It could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes or making tangible benefits and changes that will be mutually beneficial and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. And finally, even staff appreciate the automation. Instead of exercising their fingers preparing chart decks, they can exercise their minds, and less stress too. Their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and ultimately a happier company. So we've looked at everything that can be automated within the slide, not just bringing the data into the charts, but bringing logos and placing them automatically, doing stat testing, putting the indicators on them automatically, using formulae to calculate the difference between current wave and previous wave, so calculating nets or difference from a norm or benchmark value. We're able to automate the minutest of details, quite literally, with conditional formatting. So on this condition, make it red. If it's Coke, always make it red. If it's Pepsi, always make it blue. All that type of thing is possible with the automation. So therefore, automated reporting, meaning you can go straight to the client deliverable rather than just a set of charts that you then have to play with. That's the main sort of presentation. Happy to take any questions now from the audience. And I hope that you've found that helpful. Any questions, please, you can say them now, or here's my email address. Look at our website, and be happy to take those as well. Okay, first question's just come in. Can you securely distribute presentations or PDF outputs to multiple people? Yes, you can. Just on my last point, PDF, so we can automate, let's say, the PowerPoint deck, automate the Google slide, and convert that to a PDF if we wanted as well at the end. And in terms of sort of secure distribution, if you're talking about our cloud solution, then yes, of course, all that goes securely over the web. It's all based on Azure servers as well, Microsoft Azure servers. Another question, is there a limit to the number of charts or objects on a slide? Nope, there is not. You can make that slide as full of objects as you like, any number of charts and so on. And likewise, there's no limit on size of the actual presentation deck, the number of slides that we're populating. Oh, that's a good one. Is there any flexibility in the automation, What if the decks change between waves, or there are different competitor brands or different different markets? So yes, we can build the automation, or you can do it with our software to handle variance, to handle what you can potentially expect to happen down the line. Or let's say it's a project with multi-markets, and you know the different brand lists. You can set it up on the main template to handle those different scenarios. And then when you click run to populate, let's say 20 different market reports, they can have that variance built in within them. Extremely flexible. Does it work with ad hoc studies? So enterprise can work with an ad hoc study. It depends on the nature of the study, if there are like repetitive elements to it. But we do have another product called Graphique, which wasn't really the scheduled to be part of today's webinar. But please do reach out to me directly or look at our website for the Graphique product that is designed specifically for ad hoc projects, where it's really more a case of not automating, because you can't automate something that's just a one-off, but you can use it to tell your story, get the data into the charts automatically, and therefore deliver chart decks, ad hoc chart decks much more efficiently. Can your cloud solution work with Tableau, or is it just Power BI? No, well, in fact, the dashboard I showed before was a Power BI one, as it happens. But no, we can work with Tableau and Power BI, Dundas BI, and several other production systems out there, dashboard systems out there. Google. How does your handling of Google Slides differ from just importing a PowerPoint file? Excellent question. When you import a PowerPoint file into Google, firstly, Google's not really great at replicating it within Google Slides. Secondly, your charts will come in as images and you can't edit them. I think those are probably the two main points. Firstly, you're not necessarily going to get back what looked beautiful in PowerPoint, may be somewhat out of place in Google, and secondly, you will not be able to edit those charts that come into Google Slides through an import. Whereas using our solution, we're talking native Google, and therefore populating native Google charts that remain Google Charts editable after the event. It's a world of difference. Yes. Is everything you export editable? So everything in terms of anything we pull data into is editable. So data into a chart, data into a table. Obviously, you can't edit images of brand logos and the rest. You can use in the PowerPoint way, but there's no data behind them. So yes, anything that's data-driven is fully editable. And we can also include in that the ability to populate data visualizations and infographics to drive data into those using one of our extensions called eTabs Visuals. Again, there's more information on our website about visuals that can extend to data-driven infographics and so on. Can you tell me a bit more about your infographics? Yes, okay, so we have this plugin, like I said, it's called Visuals. Visuals enables you to drive data into a whole library of different infographic images. Those infographics could be scaled based on a value. They can be filled based on a value. They can be repeated based on a value. You can use infographics within charts instead of just a regular bar chart. It can be a bar chart made up of brand logos, for example, that type of thing. Word clouds, maps. So the maps are, say, take a US map of different states. We can fill up the different states on that map with different colors or different values or different fills based on a percentage and so on. It's a very cool tool. So that can be used standalone in PowerPoint, or it can be used within our automation we looked at today and integrated within that to get, like I said, data-driven infographics within a PowerPoint deck. Any more questions? We still have a bit more time on our allocated half hour. Whilst on the subject of time, what are typical time savings? So that really will depend on the complexity of what you're automating. If we're talking about the cloud system, once somebody has asked for, give me this export, and they click on that export button, they should get the PowerPoint deck back within a few seconds. If you're talking about the populating those static reports, PowerPoint, typically those are populated again within minutes. Will depend on the complexity. If it's hundreds of slides, it might take a few minutes. If it's just 20 slide deck, that would be repopulated within a few seconds. But if you're talking about using this by yourselves, taking a license of our software and doing the automation, then typical response we get from clients is they've saved at least 80% of the time. Obviously, if we're talking a tracker, so first time round, first wave, there's a setup process to get the automation going. But once that's set, and again, that will depend on the complexity of the project. Could be a couple of hours, could be a couple of days, could be more than that if it's a very, very large deck and lots of different conditions that have to be taken care of. But once you've done that initial setup process, then again, you're just talking about minutes to repopulate at each wave or for each market report, that type of thing. Quite significant savings. Well, thank you very much again for your time today. Please take a look at our website. If you have any questions, feel free to fire those over to me, and we'll be more than happy to help you with my demonstration or show us your complex project, and we can advise on that. Show us your dashboard, how you'd like that exported. Happy to take a look and advise. Well, thank you very much for your time, and have a great day and a nice weekend ahead. Bye-bye.